Hello, hello. So today we're going to do the 4 directional check-in. So what that means is that we're going to check in with ourselves, and this can be done before a sitting practice or right after a sitting practice or just any moment throughout the day. I like to do it in the morning and in the evening. You can also do it right before lunch. You can take a few deep breaths with it. You can kind of design it in a way that feels good and useful for you. But I would recommend at least once a day in the morning. It's kind of just easiest to remember, particularly if you already have a practice in the morning going on, sitting or breathing, and you've implemented some of the other practice we have already spoken to. This is one that you can add really beautifully into that. So it can really literally take 2 minutes, and it's just checking in with these 4 different directions with yourself. So checking in, how am I mentally? Mentally. Could be clear, could be aligned, could be alive, could be foggy. Yeah, mentally. How am I physically? So really what we're learning here is the physicality, which for some people can be difficult to feel the difference between the physicality and the emotions in particular. And then for some people, it's difficult to differentiate mentally from emotionally. Yeah, so we're really learning how to hold all of these parts from ourselves in a really cohesive way. So how am I physically? Well, the body is maybe a bit tense or tired. There's a subtle sense of sogginess, or there's a real energetic aliveness. Yeah, for example. Emotionally, could be tender, could be lots of different emotions running through. Yeah, we could label them with all sorts of things, but really what's important in these emotional sections is that you just sit with the feeling that's there. So emotion is energy in motion. Energy in motion. Can you really feel the energy in motion? That's the invitation there, without necessarily labeling it or understanding it too much, because then we're in the mental category. Yeah, so we're just sitting with the emotion, with the energy in motion. How does the body feel emotionally, or how does the system feel emotionally? Yeah. And then spiritually, whichever way works for you at this stage. Maybe at this point it's sort of an energy that you feel kind of around you. Maybe it's more related to nature, and maybe it's more related to a figure. Yeah. And maybe you have a real clear understanding that it's something within you that is really a deeper truth of you. So also we can really explore, what is your relationship to this spiritual aspect of yourself or of the world? Yeah. And there's no right answers here. It's simply, how do you relate to this? And so this is really simple. Implement it in the morning. How are you mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually? You can also do it in a different order, and you can do that differently day by day. Sometimes I start with, how do I feel physically? This tends to be the way I start, physically, because it's really obvious for me how I feel physically often. Then I go often into emotionally, then mentally, and then spiritually. That's just kind of the order for me, because it feels like I'm going from bottom to up. And sometimes I might feel like the mental is just a bit more active, and then I mention that first, or I check in with that one first. So there's no particular order in which to do this. It's just, can we check in with these different parts of ourselves and include them as a part of the whole?